I am Bridget Lake, president of the Oviedo Winter Springs Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we are here with Rhiannon Arnold, running for Circuit Judge Group 1, serving Orange and Osceola counties. Our premier virtual Eastside Regional Hob Nob is presented by Lucas Land Group, an Oviedo-based family-run business with interests throughout Central Florida. Our sponsor, Duke Energy, and our radio sponsor, 96.5 WDBO. Now, before we begin our conversation, let us cut to a quick commercial from our sponsor, Duke Energy.
I know what I want from my energy company. I want to know that my power is always on and that my family's energy is cleaner and safer. That's why, as a Duke Energy lineman, I'm working hard to make that possible. I absolutely feel honored to make a difference in our community. It's a good feeling knowing that I'm helping to build a smarter, reliable energy future for all of us, for my family and yours.
And now we are back with Rhiannon Arnold, running for Circuit Judge Group 1 that will be serving Orange and Osceola counties. She is one of our candidates at the Eastside Regional Hob Nob. How are you doing today, Rhiannon?
I'm really great. Thanks so much, Ms. Lake, for having me.
Of course, our pleasure. And why don't you start with telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, great. Again, my name's Rhiannon Arnold. I am a local trial attorney here in the Orlando area. I relocated from the Panhandle of Florida in 2004 and have steadily been residing here since then. I started my own company in 2006. Now my husband and I own the Arnold Law Group together. And I started the business as a criminal defense practitioner, solely doing state and federal criminal defense. In 2013, after we got pregnant with our first daughter, I started doing civil trial practice work and have split my practice between criminal defense and civil practice, strictly as a trial lawyer since then. I entered the race in January of 2019 as an official candidate, so I have been campaigning and on this campaign trail for well over a year now. And I am just really looking forward to becoming a circuit court judge to serve the people of Orange and Osceola County.
Now, what drew you into criminal law?
I attended law school at Florida State University, and one of the programs, an externship that we have based upon being a student and focusing on criminal law classes, depending on how well you do with them, you can be selected to participate in an externship where you become what's called a certified legal intern. And so essentially you can practice in courtrooms in the state of Florida with a licensed attorney sitting beside you in court at all times. And so I was selected for that externship, and I practiced in the Second Judicial Circuit during my third year of law school with the public defender's office there in a really small town just outside Tallahassee called Monticello, Florida. And so that small jurisdiction gave me a really great opportunity in the fact that I actually got to try cases as a certified legal intern. There was just one public defender in that small circuit, and he allowed me to try cases with him. And I knew from the minute I got in front of a jury that that's what I wanted to do. And so I decided to interview with the public defender's office, both in Orlando and in Tampa. And when I was given the opportunity to go to both of those places and offered a job, I just really felt like my heart was here in Orlando. And so that's what got me into criminal defense practice.
Was there any of those cases when, you know, that really stood out to you that you want to talk about, that you still remember to this day that was important, or there was a particular reason that you remember it?
Honestly, Ms. Blake, there are so many cases that made an impact on my career. One of the cases that was a high profile media case that was very difficult for me because it was probably my first high profile media case was a case out of Sumter County where a couple had a pet python snake, and the python snake got out of its enclosure, and unfortunately during the night when it got out of its enclosure, it killed their minor child. And so I represented the boyfriend at the time. So he was not the father of the minor child, but the boyfriend paramour that was living in the home. And so that occurred not long after the Casey Anthony case. And so it went to trial. And just because of, you know, it being kind of a hot topic in the community with Casey Anthony just happening, it was just a very high profile case. Obviously, it was the first time ever that a snake had been, quote unquote, the mechanism of the death, if you will. And so that one definitely sticks out in my mind. You know, it was precedent setting. I've had lots of cases in which they've made an impact on me. I really honestly feel like the majority of my clients that I have had an opportunity to sit next to during a jury trial and go all the way to verdict with, each one of those cases have stuck with me because those are people that have entrusted me to be their voice to the 6 people that are going to decide their fate. And for one reason or another, all of those cases have always stuck with me for one reason or another.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you, what do you believe makes you stand out from your opponent?
For me, I believe that judges need to have real life courtroom experience day in and day out. I don't think that the job of a judge needs to be a lot of on the job training. And so when lawyers decide that they want to become judges, I think that they need to have a lot of experience in how to run a courtroom. I think that's really important. And running a courtroom, you know, takes running dockets. It's going to be really important to have had a lot of experience seeing the way other judges have done it, being in front of a lot of other judges, and really knowing how to run juries, run the way juries come before you, and seeing the way that process works. And for me, you know, I've had a lot of jury experience. Prior to COVID, on a typical basis, I was in court, you know, 4 days, typically 4 to 5 days a week. You know, most days I was in the courtroom. And my opponent does not have a lot of jury trial experience. Additionally, you know, I think for me personally, being able to argue for someone's freedom and having people trust me to argue, you know, the circumstances when they are accused of a crime, and the difference of the way I present their case may make a difference as to whether they go home to their family or whether they spend a significant period of time in jail. I think those risks are really, really high. That's kind of, you know, the highest stakes we really get in the justice system. And so I think that pressure, I'm very used to it. I've spent 15 years doing it. And so I think I'm ready for the pressure of sitting as a judge and having to call, for, you know, the sports analogy, having to call like the balls and strikes and make those determinations as far as the law is concerned. I think I'm ready for that.
How involved are you with your local community?
You know, I'm really involved. I have 2 young daughters, and so a lot of my involvement now sort of surrounds them. So being involved in, we've just gotten started getting involved in like brownies, and me being involved in like their school and PTA. So my involvement has sort of shifted to community involvement involving them. But prior to that, I've always been a guardian ad litem for children in the dependency system in Orange County. So prior to having my daughters, I had volunteered over 100 hours with guardian ad litem dependency cases. And then what I continue to do on the legal side is that I provide pro bono hours through the Legal Aid Society, providing sealing and expungement through the pro bono program for clients who need to have their criminal histories or their arrest histories sealed or expunged in order to move their careers and or their lives forward. And so I do that on, a very regular basis. And so those are really the two ways that I'm involved in the community. This past year, my oldest daughter was a kindergartner. And so I was her classroom mom and then involved in the PTSA. And so involved in the community within her school community, but continued to be involved that way as well.
And my next question is actually tell us about your family, which it sounds like you have 2 daughters. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Sure. So my husband is my business partner. We've been business partners since 2009, which is a blessing and a curse. I'm sure everyone can understand. Some days are very trying to work with your spouse, but we make it work. And then we have 2 beautiful daughters, Madeline and Mason, who are 4. Mason's 4, but she'll be 5 next month. And then Madeline just turned 6. And then those are really my only family members here in the Central Florida area. Both myself and my husband relocated here after law school. We actually met in court. My husband's originally from North Carolina and I'm from the Panhandle of Florida. And so both of our families are still in our regular locations where we're originally from, in the Pensacola area and the North Carolina area. But we see them, fairly regularly, much more regularly now that we have children, because grandkids make grandparents travel much more quickly to come see you.
So I have to ask, you met in court. Were you on the same side or opposite sides in court?
We were on the same side for the most part. We were representing co-defendants in juvenile court. So we were essentially on the same side, yes.
Well, thank you so much, Rhiannon. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Absolutely. This has been a really unique and great experience. I have never run for any type of office before. I've never put my name in for the appointment process. This is a decision that I made along with my husband and my family because I really wanted to make an impact on the legal system and leave the legal system in a little bit better position than I found it for my daughters. I entered the legal profession thinking it was very prestigious and it was one of the greatest jobs in the world. It has, given me my husband. It's given me a family, a life that I wouldn't have had otherwise. It's opened so many doors for me. And so I really felt like it was my turn to give back, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to do so. And I look forward to serving the residents of Orange and Osceola County. I bring a lot of unique life experiences that I've been through personally in my life that I think a lot of judges have not been through and can't bring to the bench. I think all of those life experiences make me very empathetic to a lot of things that people go through in that we find coming through the legal system. And so I look forward to bringing not only my legal experiences, but my life experiences with me and not leaving them at the door when I become a judge. And so I'm excited for the impact that I feel like I can have on a grander scale, not just the way that I've been able to impact the community as a lawyer, but on a much grander scale as a judge.
Rhiannon, well said. This is Rhiannon Arnold running for Circuit Judge Group 1 that will be serving Orange and Osceola counties. She is one of our candidates at the Eastside Regional Hob Nob. We will be having our virtual event on June 30th starting at 5:30. And if you want to learn more about our candidates, you can go to esrhobnob.com. We are excited to see you there. Thank you so much, Rhiannon. It was very nice to meet you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Blake. Have a great day. Thanks again.
You also. Thank you, everyone.